Hello everyone, it's me Sanjay Vasu back again for another video. Today we are going to discuss the Cambridge Lower Secondary Checkpoint, Paper 2 for Mathematics, April 2020. Let's start. Question 1. Calculate the square root of 74. Give your answer correct to one decimal place. To calculate the square root of 74, we need a calculator because it is not a perfect square. So now, let's take the calculator, type in 74 square root. That will be 8.60232. Let's give this correct to one decimal place. So we need to see the second decimal place. That's a 0, which is less than 5. So we can write it as 8.6 for 1 dp. Question 2. Simplify these expressions. F plus f plus f plus f. There are 4 f's, so we can write it as 4f. 2y plus 6 minus y plus 1, which is equal to 2y minus y plus 6 plus 1, which is equal to y plus 7. Question 3. Simplify fully this ratio. 12 is to 30. So we need to find out the HCF of 12 and 30. So let's put it down. 12, 30. Both are divisible by 2, 6, 15. And then both are divisible by 3 as well, 2, 5. So we need to multiply these two, which is 2 multiplied by 3, which is equal to 6. That's the HCF. So 12 is to 30 equals 12 by 6 is to 30 by 6, which is equal to 2 is to 5. Question 4. Some trees are planted in rows of 10. Complete the formula to find the total number of trees, T, in R rows. So how many trees are there in each row? There are 10 trees. So if you want to find how many are there in R rows, we can multiply 10 multiplied by R, which is 10R. So T equals 10R. Question 5. Chen rolls the dice and records the score each time. The results are shown in the table. In the table, we have the scores and the frequencies. Calculate his mean score. First, we need to find out the total number of times he rolls the dice, which is, you have to add up all the frequencies. So the total number of times is equal to 9 plus 14 plus 2 plus 12 plus 8 plus 5, which is equal to 50. So he rolls the dice 50 times. So the mean will be 1 multiplied by 9 plus 2 multiplied by 14 plus 3 multiplied by 2 plus 4 multiplied by 12 plus 5 multiplied by 8 plus 6 multiplied by 5, the whole divided by 50. So we need to find the mean, which is equal to 9 plus 28 plus 6 plus 48 plus 40 plus 30 by 50, which is equal to, when you add these all up, it will become 161 by 50. This is equal to 3.22. So that's his mean score. Question 6. Here's a cuboid. Find the volume of the cuboid. Give the units of your answer. So the volume of cuboid equals length multiplied by width multiplied by height, centimeter cube. The length is 10 centimeters. The width is 6 centimeters. And the height, 7 centimeters. So the volume will be 10 multiplied by 6 multiplied by 7, which is equal to 420 centimeters cubed. Remember to write the units properly, or else 1 mark is gone for that. Question 7. Work out 1 plus 2.5 the whole squared minus 1 plus 2.5 squared. So 1 plus 2.5 the whole squared, let's find out this first. It's equal to 3.5 squared, which is equal to 12.25. 1 plus 2.5 squared is equal to 1 plus 6.25, which is equal to 7.25. 12.25 minus 7.25 is equal to 5. So that's the answer. Question 8. Here's a formula. V equals A into B minus 5 the whole squared. Work out the value of V when A equals 4 and B equals 8. This is just a matter of substitution. V equals 4 into 8 minus 5 the whole squared, which is equal to 4 into 3 squared, which is 4 multiplied by 9, which is equal to 36. So V equals 36. Question 9. Angelique travels 75 miles. Jamila travels 115 kilometers. Show that Angelique has traveled further than Jamila. We already know that 1 mile equals 1.6 kilometers. So 75 miles equals 75 multiplied by 1.6 kilometers, which is equal to 120 kilometers. So 120 greater than 115. So Angelique travels further. Proven. Question 10. Expand 2a into 2b minus 3a. So we can multiply 2a by both the numbers. This will be 4ab minus 6a squared. 4ab minus 6a squared. Question 11. Write the missing numbers in the boxes. Dash percent of 250 equals 75, and 75% of dash equals 300. So let's substitute this as x, and this is y. Let's find out x first. X percent multiplied by 250 equals 75. And x percent can also be written as 0.01x. 0.01x multiplied by 250 is 75. 0.01x equals 75 by 250, which is equal to 0.3. X is equal to 0.3 divided by 0.01 or divided by 1 by 100, which is equal to 0.3 multiplied by 100, 30. So let's replace the x with 30. 30% of 250 equals 75. Now let's find out y. 75% multiplied by y equals 300. So 0.75 multiplied by y equals 300. Y equals 300 divided by 0.75, which is equal to 400. So y equals 400. Question 12. These are the instructions on a box of grass seed. 1.5 kg of seed will cover an area of 48 meters squared. Work out the amount of grass seed that is needed to cover an area of 256 meters squared. Let's put this as x. So 1.5 is to 48. Let's put a ratio. That'll be equal to x is to 256. So 1.5 by 48 equals x by 256. Therefore, 1.5 by 48 multiplied by 256 is x. So x equals 0.03125 multiplied by 256. So x equals 8 kg. So the amount of grass seed that is needed to cover an area of 256 meters squared is 8 kg. Question 13. Round to two significant figures. First, 0.045325. Because we are rounding to 2 SF, check the third SF or significant figure, which is 3. 3 less than 5, so the answer will be 0.045. The next one is 16,872. The third significant figure here is 8. And 8 is greater than 5, so the answer will be 17,000. Note that this digit has increased by 1. It was 6 before, now it has become 7 because 8 is greater than 5. 17,000. Question 14. A circle has diameter 8 centimeters. Calculate the circumference of the circle. So we have the diameter of the circle. So the formula for the circumference of the circle is pi d, where d is the diameter. So let's replace d with 8. So this will be equal to 8 pi, which is equal to 25.133 centimeters. This is written to 3 decimal places. So let's write that down. Question 15. Find the value of x. 9 to the power 3 multiplied by 9 divided by 9 to the power 6 equals 9 to the power x. Using the rules of powers, let's write this down. 9 to the power 3 multiplied by 9 divided by 9 to the power 6 equals 9 to the power x. This 9 is equivalent to 9 to the power 1. Using power rules, when you multiply two numbers with the same base, you will always need to add the powers of the numbers. 9 to the power 3 multiplied by 9 to the power 1 equals 9 to the power 3 plus 1, which is equal to 9 to the power 4. And that divided by 9 to the power 6 is 9 to the power x. Remember the rule for multiplication? We have a rule for division as well. So if we are dividing two numbers with the same base, we need to subtract the numerator's power and the denominator's power. So this will be 9 to the power of 4 minus 6, which is equal to 9 to the power minus 2, which is equal to 9 to the power x. Therefore, x is equal to negative 2. Question 16. Here are some descriptions of how a variable y changes with time. Here are the 5 descriptions. For each graph, write the letter of the description that best matches its shape. Let's start with point A. The height, y, of the water in a bath as someone gets in and then after a few minutes gets out and takes the plug out. So first, when someone gets in, the water will get displaced and therefore it will rise very little. This graph meets that. While you're bathing, the water always stays at the same level, so that's also met. And then after you get out, the water will again decrease because the displacement is not there anymore. And after that, he takes the plug out, and that means the water is drained from the bathtub. So the statement A matches this graph. Let's look at statement B. The distance, y, traveled by a runner who starts very fast and gradually slows down. So if he starts very fast, the time will be less, but the steepness will be more. This graph and this graph meet that. He gradually slows down. The word gradually states that very constant and very slowly slows down. And this graph meets all the requirements. And why is it not this graph? Because he does not stop, but this area, he stops. That's not what we need. So we can write the statement B for this graph. Statement C. The speed y of a train which leaves the station speeds up and then slows down to stop again at the next station. Let's concentrate on the lines which leaves the station, speeds up and then slows down. The only graph which meets all these requirements is this one. Because of the gentle acceleration at the start, then it speeds up, so the slope is higher, and then it slows down again, so it goes down, the speed goes down, and it stops. So let's mark statement C for that graph. Let's move to statement D. The distance from home, y, traveled by someone walking from home at a constant speed to shop, and then after shopping, walking home again at a constant speed. There are only two graphs left. Let's start with someone walking from home at a constant speed. A constant speed means a straight line on a graph, and only this graph meets that requirement. So option D goes for that. Another thing to note, while shopping, obviously he stops, and only in this graph there is a stopping point. Let's move to statement E. The speed, y, of a cyclist who cycles slowly up a hill and then accelerates down the other side. There is only one graph left, but still I will explain why that graph is the answer. So first, the cyclist cycles slowly up a hill, so the acceleration decreases, so the speed decreases, that's good, and then accelerates down the other side, so the speed increases again. So this graph is the answer for E. Question 17. Factorize 5b squared minus 3b. This is pretty straightforward. The highest common factor in this is b. So we can write it as b multiplied by 5b minus 3. b multiplied by 5b minus 3. Question 18. The diagram shows a cuboid. The length, width, and height of the cuboid are all different. Write down the number of planes of symmetry of this cuboid. So first, what is a plane of symmetry? A plane of symmetry is actually like a line of symmetry but to a cuboid. Planes are 2D shapes, so in a cuboid, the plane of symmetry is a rectangle. First, let's draw all the missing sides of the cuboid. It will be there, so they will be there, there, and the last one straight down there. So these are the missing sides of this cuboid, And now we're going to draw the planes of symmetry of it. So let's start with the first plane of symmetry. That'll be the line of symmetry for this rectangle. You can take any line of symmetry, but only one for this stage. So that'll be this line. And if you want to extend it to make a rectangle, draw it same to here. So this is the first plane of symmetry. So this is the first plane of symmetry. Now the second one, the line of symmetry for this rectangle will be the second plane of symmetry. So I am taking the vertical line of symmetry, and if you want to extend it, it'll become like that, and then a few more lines. So this is the second plane of symmetry. Let's take the third plane over here, the third rectangle. And since this is already been taken, we shall take the other line of symmetry. So that'll go down there. And then if you want to extend it, it'll become somewhat like this. And then back to this side, and we'll come here. So this is the third plane of symmetry. I hope you can see it clearly. These are the red, green, and orange lines. Are there any more lines of symmetry, you may ask? According to me, I don't think so, because all the lines of symmetry of each plane have been taken. So the number of planes of symmetry of this cuboid is 3. Question 19. D is directly proportional to T. When T equals 3, D equals 36. Find the formula connecting D and T. The formula for direct proportion is D equals KT. So this is the basic formula, and now we can substitute 36 equals K3. Or, in mathematically, we need to write 3K. Therefore, K is equal to 36 divided by 3, which is equal to 12. So, D equals 12T when you substitute it in. D equals 12T. B. Find T when D equals 66. So, let's substitute it into this formula. 66 equals 12T. Therefore, T is equal to 66 divided by 12, which is equal to 5.5. C. Draw the graph of the relationship between D and T for 0 less than or equal to T less than or equal to 10. One thing to note, D is directly proportional to T. Look back at this line. Look at this line as well. The graph of relationship between D and T. D and T have a relationship of direct proportion, so that is only a straight line. There is never any curve in a direct proportion graph. So let's find the value for any two of them. One of them will be when T equals 0. So when T equals 0, then D equals 12 multiplied by 0, which is equal to 0. Therefore, we can plot a point for D equals 0 and T equals 0. Did I forget to mention something? Yes. All the time, a direct proportion graph starts at 0, 0. Why? It's because when T equals 0, D is always equal to 0, no matter what other things are there with D. Therefore, we can write the point as 0, 0. And then we'll put when T equals 10. So T equals 10, then D equals 12 multiplied by 10, which is equal to 120. So it'll be up here. Now let's join these 2 points together. And there you have it. This is the direct proportion graph of relationship between D and T. Let's move on. Question 20. A quadrilateral is drawn on the grid below. Show how the quadrilateral tessellates. Draw 5 more of these quadrilaterals. What's the meaning of tessellation? It means how the quadrilateral forms a pattern. So let's draw another quadrilateral which has a common edge with this one. And that common edge will be this edge here. Now we can keep repeating this pattern till we draw another 4 quadrilaterals. So it'll be somewhat like this over here. And we repeat that pattern one more time. This is the finished tessellation, and let's move on to the next question. Question 21. Here are the coordinates of the 5 points. Cross x mark the point that is not on the line with the equation y equals 5x minus 3. Let's start with number 1. 8, 37. Notice that this is the x coordinate and this is the y. So y equals 5x minus 3. Let's substitute the x and y values in. So 37 equals 5 multiplied by 8 minus 3. Which is equal to 40 minus 3, which is equal to 37. That's true. So this should not be cross-marked. Let's go to the next one. -2, -7. We'll do the same thing as we did last time. -7 equals 5 multiplied by -2 minus 3, which is equal to -10 minus 3, which is equal to -13. That's false. So we can actually test for the remaining 3, but all of them will come true. This is the only one which is not on the equation because -7 is not equal to -13. So let's cross mark that. Question 22. The table showed the mean and the range of number of customers at a restaurant on Mondays and Thursdays. The restaurant manager says the number of customers on Mondays is less variable than on Thursdays. Explain why the manager is correct. The simplest way to do this is comparing the ranges because it is the biggest number minus the smallest number. The range on Mondays is less than that on Thursdays, so the restaurant manager is correct. So the range on Mondays is less than the range on Tuesdays. Question 23. Convert 4 2/7 to a decimal. Give your answer correct to 2 decimal places. This is quite simple. So first we convert this into an improper fraction. 4 2/7 equals 28 plus 2/7, which is equal to 30/7. Then we do this math on a calculator. So let's put a calculator right there. 30 divided by 7, which is equal to 4.2857 blah blah blah. It's a recurring decimal. So that'll be equal to 4.285714. So this is actually the correct notation for it. See the 2 dots above? Therefore, recurring decimal notation. So after this, we convert it to 2 decimal places, which is equal to 4.29 because 5 is greater than or equal to 5. 5 is equal to 5, so 4.29. Let's move on to question 24. The scale shows the mass of a van. Write down the mass of the van in tons. So first let's find out how much 1 ton is. It is equal to 1,000 kilograms. We need to remember this. Now we'll find out what's on the scale. if we zoom a little closer, we can see that it points at this line over there. The number of divisions between 2500 and 3000, it's 10 divisions. So 3000 minus 2500 divided by 10, which is equal to 500 divided by 10, which is equal to 50. And then we need to see how many divisions, 1, 2, 3 divisions are there between 2500 and this number. So it'll be 2500 plus 50 multiplied by 3, which is equal to 2500 plus 150, 2650. And if you want to put that in tons, because this is in kilograms, it'll become, divide this by 1000, and that'll be 2.65 tons. 2.65. Let's move to question 25. Find the nth term for this sequence: 3, 8, 13, 18, 23, and so on. First, we need to find out the common difference. So 8 minus 3 is 5. 13 minus 8 is 5. 18 minus 13, 5. 23 minus 18, 5. So first, let's look at the 5 table. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Why are we looking at this 5 only? Because they've given 5. Now let's write down the sequence: 3, 8, 13, 18, 23. So that will be when you minus 2 from each of the 5 table numbers. And because the common difference is 5, it'll become 5n minus 2. Substitute n equals 1. So 5 into 1 minus 2, which is equal to 5 minus 2, which is equal to 3. Substitute n equals 2. 5 into 2 minus 2, which is equal to 10 minus 2, which is equal to 8. And that's what we need. So it'll become 5n minus 2. Let's move on to question 26. Here are some currency exchange rates. 1 US dollar equals 7.76 Hong Kong dollars, and 1 US dollar equals 1.47 New Zealand dollars. Work out the value of 1,000 Hong Kong dollars in New Zealand dollars. So first we need to find out how much 1,000 Hong Kong dollars is in US dollars. So 1,000 HKD equals 1,000 by 7.76. And now we're going to use the calculator to find this answer. 1,000 divided by 7.76 equals 128.87 when you round it to the 2 decimal places. So if you want this in New Zealand dollars, we need to multiply by 1.47. So NZD equals 128.87 multiplied by 1.47. So we multiply the value of 128.865 ... into 1.47. That'll be equal to 189.43 NZD, New Zealand dollars, to 2 decimal places, because currency is always written in 2 decimal places. Now let's write the answer: 189.43. Next is question 27. A square and a regular hexagon are joined together along one edge. Find the angle BAC. So let's divide angle BAC into 2 parts using this line and label the point over here as D. First, we need to find the interior angle of this hexagon. It's a regular hexagon as well. And that'll be the sum of the interior angles divided by 6, because hexagon has 6 sides. So sum of interior angles itself, sum of interior angles I'm going to put a hex dot for a hexagon, is equal to n minus 2 into 180, 6 minus 2 multiplied by 180, which is equal to 4 into 180, which is equal to 720. So the interior angle is equal to 720 by 6, which is equal to 120 degrees. And then the exterior angle is equal to 180 minus 120, which is equal to 60 degrees. And then we need to find out the exterior angle for this square. A square obviously has interior angles 90 degrees. So exterior angle of square is equal to 180 minus 90, which is equal to 90 degrees. So the total value will be equal to 90 plus 60, which is equal to 150 degrees. Let's write that down. Now let's go to question 28. Mia buys 50 coats at $28 each. She sells 38 of these coats at $49 each, and she sells the rest of the coats at $40 each. Find the overall percentage profit that Mia has made on these coats. First, let's find out the buying price or the cost price. It'll be equal to 50 multiplied by 28, which is equal to $1,400. Next, she sells 38 of these coats at $49 each. So the selling price of 38 is equal to 38 into 49. And here I'll just show you a handy math trick. It's 38 multiplied by 50 minus 38 multiplied by 1, which is equal to 1,900 minus 38. That makes $1,862. And then selling price of 12, which is 50 minus 38 over here, that's the rest of the coats, is equal to 12 into 40, which is equal to $480. So the profit equals 1862 plus 480 minus 1400, which is equal to 1862 minus 1400 is equal to 462. Add 480 to it, it'll become $942. So the percentage will be equal to 942 by 1,400 multiplied by 100. Cut those out, the zeros. And then we divide 942 by 14. Let's use the calculator. 942 divided by 14 equals 67.285 ... which will be 67.29%. So, by the way, that is to 2 decimal places, which is equal to 67.29%. Question 29. Hassan travels by bus to work every morning. The bus is either green or blue or yellow. The table shows information about the probabilities of each color. Calculate the value of x. This is the A part. Obviously, the total probability of everything is equal to 1. So 2x plus 2x plus x equals 1. 5x equals 1. X equals 1 by 5, which is equal to 0.2. So x equals 0.2. B. Work out the probability that Hassan's bus is either blue or yellow, which is equal to 2x plus x, which is equal to 3x. And x equals 0.2, so 3x equals 0.2 multiplied by 3, which is equal to 0.6. So that's the probability that Hassan's bus is either blue or yellow. Question 30. Find the inverse function of y equals 3x. Now, what we're going to do to solve this is replace y with x and x with y to find the inverse function. So x equals 3y. And then rearrange to make y the subject. So if y is the subject, y should be one part of the equation, while anything else will be on the other side. So y equals x by 3 when you bring 3 to the other side. And that's the inverse function. That's it you have to do. X by 3. If you want to check, x by 3, by the way, can also be written as 1 by 3x. I'm telling this to you because if you want to check if your inverse function is correct or not, ignore the x and y. Look at the 3 here. What's the multiplicative inverse of 3? It's 1 by 3. So that's what we need. If you want to find that, inverse is also to the power of -1. So 3 to the power -1 equals 1 by 3 to the power 1, which is equal to 1 by 3. So that's a second way to do this. So it will be 1 by 3x, and that's equal to x by 3. So these are two methods which you can solve the inverse function. Question 31. ABCD is a square with side length 8 units. The coordinates of D are P, Q. The square is translated so that point B moves to point D. Write down the new coordinates of the point A in terms of P and Q. If point B moves to point D, it moves like this. 8 units left and 8 units down because the side length is 8 units. But let's say we are moving it diagonally along the line which I drew. That means A will also move through the same line, but the gap will remain the same. So this gap will still be 8 units even when it's translated down. And when it's translated down, as I said, 8 units. And if B is on the point D, which is P, Q, P is the x value and Q is the y value. So the x scale is over here, y is over here. This is the P value of the x. In other words, the point P, 0, because y is equal to 0. And this is the Q value. In other words, 0, Q, because Q is the y value and x is equal to 0. So both of them make straight lines, the x1 vertical, y horizontal, and they meet at this point. Using this concept, when we move 8 units to the left, the x value will get lesser by 8 units. So x equals P minus 8, and y is still the same because they're still on the line y equals Q. So y is always equal to Q there. And the coordinates of point A are these two here. This makes point A. So let's write that down. X equals P minus 8, y equals Q. The answer is P minus 8, Q. And that's the end of the paper. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something new from it. Thank you. See you in my next video. Bye.